I clearly remember being, in her office with Mary Ellen. We switched from Worcester to Boston, and
Oh, okay.
yeah, and just I think I think I was there for Sarah, and Mary Ellen was running out of the room. And anyways, it was yeah, and she just was so and I had to nurse somebody, and she was telling me about her own experience with her daughter nursing in a public place, and I felt like immediately I was like, I think I started probably crying or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
No, she completely relates because I heard a nursing story too that she was telling, and actually your daughter running out of the office reminds me too. I have two crazy boys now, and
that's right.
they usually have to come to the appointments, and Dr. Teal knows them very well.
Yeah.
So
Yep. She's good at the whole circus in the office.
yeah, exactly, and that's what it is when we all go.
Yep. That's the way it used to be. Now it's pretty calm, but oh
Yeah.
man. So
Well, good.
yeah. So you started seeing Dr. Teal.
Yes, and I just started bringing Hannah to Dr. Teal and left the local neurology office, and it was just life-changing being with Dr. Teal. And I mean, Hannah's been on a number of seizure meds to try and control her seizures, and she was even on the keto. Well, yeah, and it started around 9 months, and out of the whole year and a half, we had about 6 weeks of seizure freedom, and that's it.
Wow.
So, yeah, I said, all right, enough's enough. I feel like my kid's missing out on some
yes.
good food.
I think
almost
Sarah
felt like
still
I was
talks
starving them.
Yes, in fact, people that didn't understand, you really did seem to think that somehow there was some kind of abuse situation going on because she lost so much weight, and she was just so, like, I just focused on food for a long time. What's next?
Yeah.
And
yeah, and you have to weigh everything, and yeah. I used to joke that the formula she had to be on, I believe it was keto kale. I used to call it liquid gold because it was so expensive.
Oh my goodness!
But it was just part of the diet.
Imagine.
Yeah. Thankfully, her insurance covered it, so
that's good.
Things were good there.
Yeah.
But, and so even, after the diet too, we were just realizing medication wasn't helping, the diet's not helping. And she did start doing the testing to see if she was a candidate for brain surgery. And of course, Hannah's was a tricky case. After a number of different tests, it seemed like the tumors that were causing the seizures, were coming from the right side. She's always had left-sided weakness, a little bit.
Okay. Yep.
She has an AFO brace, but so doing all the tests that we did, it always looked like maybe the tumors causing these seizures were either right on her motor strip or close to her motor strip. So if she were to have the brain surgery, she of course had to have the 2-part brain surgery with the grids and the depth electrodes, and it would be like a 2-week process. So I definitely held out for a while. And Dr. Duhame, the neurosurgeon, she's a saint. I don't know how many times I met with her throughout the years asking for reassurance and making sure it was okay. And
now, was that at Mass General?
It was at Mass General, yep. And so I can't remember when we started the testing, maybe in 2010. And then it wasn't until 2014 that I agreed to let Hannah have the brain surgeries.
Yep.
But after the surgeries, we definitely did have some relief from seizures, and they did improve probably for about a year. But then they did come back. But it wasn't nearly as many as she was having. Like back when she was first diagnosed, she was having between 15 to about 20 a day, sometimes over 20.
How long would they last?
30 seconds, sometimes a minute.
That's scary.
Yeah, but she had the partial complex seizure. So
it started in one part and spread.
Yeah, and even some people, I always knew when she was having one. Not everybody would know. Well, and they weren't always like that. They were definitely bigger sometimes too. But after the surgery, she did have some improvement, and we were at like 4 or 5 a month.
Oh, that's much better.
Much better, yeah.
To current day, where are you? So where are you now?
Now, Hannah's part of the clinical trial for the CBD oil.
Oh, she's doing that. Oh, good.
She is, yes. And this is the best that we've ever seen with
Ah,
seizures. She's doing so much better. I've been able to wean her down on one of her medications. She used to be at like 10 mLs of Vimpat twice a day. She's now down to 5 mLs twice a day. And she's been on lorazepam
mm-hmm.
for years.
Yep.
And it's only 1 milligram and it's at bedtime, but we're weaning her off of that now.
Excellent.
And now she's at 0.25 and there's been no extra seizures. She's been doing great with that. And I mean, just in a couple weeks, she'll be completely off of the lorazepam.
Oh, that's so encouraging.
Yeah, no, it really is.
Yeah, so absolutely, it's good that the people that need it could get it now.
Right.
The most, so that's great. That helped. So I guess, I'm looking through the questions and I think you've gone through at least the first.
Everything.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm just going to ask, your support system, how has that been? If you want to talk about that, as far as, family, what's been the best and the most difficult as far as, if you want to talk about that. If you don't, I'll just roll on it to something else.
No, I mean, I definitely rely on my family quite a bit and, they're a huge help. I mean, my husband now he's a huge help. He's Hannah's stepfather and he's really stepped up to the plate and.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Yeah. And he's great with her and he's a good support system for me. He's always there for me. And, my sister and I and my siblings, I mean, we're all really close, but I'm especially close with my sister. And, I mean, I could call her about anything that's coming up with Hannah and she's always there for me. She was actually there, when Hannah was born. She was there on diagnosis day. She's always been there for Hannah. Her and Hannah have a special little bond and,
oh, that's great.
Yeah. So it's great having them.
What's, as far as like the experiences in the education system, how's that been? As far as, did she start with early intervention?
Yes. So shortly after diagnosis, actually, she started birth to 3 and, there was an occupational therapist that came over once a week and she was absolutely wonderful. And then Hannah went to preschool and, everyone was great with her there too in preschool. And then it wasn't until actually kindergarten. I don't really know what happened there, but Hannah was starting a new school. I moved and, I did drop off her IEP and all her information, but I went to go bring Hannah up to school for her first day of kindergarten thinking I could walk her in and to her classroom. And I was told, okay, this is where you drop her off. And I instantly had a near meltdown. I'm like, what do you mean I drop her off here? She doesn't know where to go. So thankfully somebody did walk her down to kindergarten and she was brought into a regular classroom, which, was eye-opening, I think, for everybody that met Hannah, because Hannah definitely needs a lot of extra help. And thankfully that day they did realize, okay, this is not the right place for Hannah. We're going to have to get her into special education. And I mean, that happened pretty much overnight and they did get her into the right place. And, for the most part, school's been great for her.
Good.
And the last
I'm always
2 years,
encouraged when I hear that.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot, I think we're lucky in Massachusetts in a lot of ways. I
agree.
So anyways, continue on. So,
the last 2 years she's had, an amazing teacher that she has just a great connection with, and her paraprofessional that she has is just the best possible person for Hannah. It's just a perfect match all around. So the last 2 years have been incredible. And I was able to see Hannah read sight words for the first time with this teacher. She took a video of it and she sent it to me. And of course,
it's so great when you find
out.
someone, it's so, I think I can't speak enough to how important, having people that are able to make that connection with, someone that's got a disability and, how valuable that is.
Right.
But it is a matter of finding the right fit.
Right, exactly. And I definitely think that's important. I mean, Hannah wasn't, I'm thankful to every single paraprofessional she had, but I don't think it was always the perfect match for
Yep.
Hannah.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I would love them, it didn't mean it was the perfect fit for Hannah, and it was always obvious for Hannah.
Yes. Yeah, it's funny because Jack, I would know when an aide was not a good fit. And it was, it was just, that's just the way it was. We just had to have it switched till someone was kind of got the situation.
Right.
So you had a really good experience.
Yes, the last 2 years. And then Hannah's off to middle school next year, so everything will change. And I'll just worry.
So you'll have the IP accommodations and everything ready to roll into middle school.
Yes. Yeah. And I know her teacher and everyone working with her right now will definitely give me the download on everything and let me know what to expect for next year, and I'll be as prepared as I possibly can. Yeah,
you'll probably have a transition meeting, and I remember going to those, and I felt like, oh my gosh, we have this next school, what the heck? And they always made me feel much better. Once I had the meeting with the other school, like everybody was around the table, and I was like, okay.
Well, yeah, and I always joke with her teacher now, and I say, her aide, Miss Nikki, and the school nurse are all going to have to transfer up to the high school until Hannah graduates.
Right. I know. It's like a loss.
Well, it is. And I always tell Dr. Teal, you're obviously not allowed to retire until we know that the right fit is taking your spot.
Oh, my goodness. I haven't even thought about that. Great.
Oh, no, I always go way into the future.
Well, they're trying to accommodate the adults as much as possible. So. Yeah. So that's encouraging.
Right.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you, what do you do to cope? Do you have any, if you can.
I'm laughing
because there's nothing. No, I'm just kidding.
I know. I'm still trying to figure out the coping thing. I mean, I used to, back when it was just Hannah, and then even when I had my second child, I out and do anything outdoors, like hiking and biking, and I could bring them with me, and or even going for a short run, like a 20 or 30 minute run. No marathon here.
Yeah. Well, not everybody has to do that.
Well,
because I'm crazy and you're not. No.
So now that I have my third child, I mean, that's just changed quite a bit, and I just don't really have the time or the energy I wish I had half the energy some of them had. I don't know.
Right.
But I really value like quality family time. I'm happy if we just get like a movie night together, we go out to dinner or family vacations. That stuff is really important to me, and that helps calm me and just remember what's truly important.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It is. I don't know if this has been your experience. It's hard to to have a lot of, to be super social, because I always feel like there's this, I don't want to say stigma, but it's just hard to explain to other people the situation without, just genuine concern sometimes, misunderstanding, but also a little fear. And so, I get it. Yeah. It's, thank goodness for family and,
well, no, and I have, girlfriends that ask me to go out for dinner or like a girls' evening.
Yes.
And I
have a few too.
I do that once in a great while, but I find that I'm not relaxed because I want to be the one that gives Hannah her medication. I want to know it's being done properly, and
that's tough.
I feel most comfortable when I'm hanging out with my family.
Yep. It's hard to find. It's hard to get a break. And do you have any respite? Have you?
No, and actually we don't. My husband and I don't have family that's close by either. I mean, the closest family we have is like 2 hours away, and they all have full-time jobs and all that. And
oh yeah, I get it.
So we don't have family that's really close by to help out, and I don't know how much I trust. There's very few people that I trust.
Yes, I hear you. Yep. Yeah, it's a lot.
It is.
Yeah, and I really, I thank you for sharing your experience. And just from the heart, I appreciate it so much. Um, any positive takeaways that you can, I did have one, I think you really hit on it with Dr. Teal as far